I posted on my socials, trying to get a rise out of my aloof crush. On a date with a cute college guy. Except I made a typo. Cute came out as Cuban. The comments on my post exploded. Not a single word from my crush, but my childhood rival, Caleb, had already spammed 99 notifications. A sweet college kid from Cuba? Hahaha, you're getting scammed. Just a reminder, don't trust guys so easily. Is this dude really from Cuba? You're not short on cash lately, are you? If you need money, I can graciously lend you some. I just sent you $1,000. Is that enough? Okay, $3,000 is the most I can do. That's all my savings from when I was a kid. Why aren't you answering me? What are you guys doing? Is he better looking than me? Why isn't your phone picking up? And oh, don't you dare go to Cuba with him, I haven't even told you I like you yet. My phone died right after I posted the picture I'd taken with my cousin. He was curious. So, sis, who's this guy who's making you lose your appetite? I just sighed without saying anything. My best friend, Sarah, clicked her tongue twice. The hottest guy in our program. He's definitely good looking, but man, is he cold. Your sister here is a total knockout, and she basically spelled out that she likes him, but he just acts like she doesn't exist. The more she talked, the more depressed I got. How could I finally work up the courage to go after a guy, only to run into a brick wall like Leo? I brought him an iced tea. He said he doesn't drink sweet things. I brought him flowers. He said he was allergic to pollen. I tried to study with him in the library. He said my perfume was too strong and was distracting him. For God's sake, I'd only used 2 spritzes of a Bath Body Works spray that day. Sarah said he was just playing hard to get, stringing me along. She gave me an idea. You've got to shake him up a little. Otherwise, he'll think you're hung up on him and only him. You need to make him feel like he's got competition. I thought she had a point. My younger cousin happened to be in town, so I treated him to dinner and we snapped a deliberately ambiguous, intimate-looking photo for my social feed. I wanted Leo to know that I had plenty of handsome, quality guys in my life. I glanced over at my cousin. He was a short, chubby kid, but he'd grown up, slimmed down, and gotten paler. He was a total pretty boy now. Perfect. This should be enough to make Leo feel a little insecure. Just as I was feeling smug, my best friend let out a shriek. Holy crap. She shoved her phone in my face. Nina. You made a typo. Oh, just a typo. Nothing to freak out about. I leaned over nonchalantly to look at her screen. And then I froze. On a date with a cute college guy. Had become. On a date with a Cuban college guy. A bunch of people had already liked the post. Worse, a ton of our mutual friends were commenting, telling me to be careful. Panicked, I grabbed a power bank and plugged in my phone. I was about to edit the caption when I saw the comments below. There were so many of them. Not a single one was from Leo. But my childhood rival, Caleb, had left over 99 comments. A sweet college kid from Cuba? Hahaha, you're getting scammed. Just a reminder, don't trust guys so easily. You guys didn't go drinking, did you? You're such a lightweight, that's hilarious. How did you even meet this guy? Is he really from Cuba? You're not short on cash lately, are you? If you need money, I can graciously lend you some. I just sent you $1,000. Is that enough? Okay, $3,000 is the most I can do. That's all my savings from when I was a kid. Why aren't you answering me? What are you guys doing? Is he better looking than me? Why isn't your phone picking up? You're not still with him, are you? And oh, don't you dare go to Cuba with him, I haven't even told you I like you yet. I was stunned. Every single message was completely unexpected. Especially that last one. Ring, ring, ring. My friend's phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID, looking puzzled, before answering. We were close enough that I could vaguely hear the voice on the other end. Caleb? What do you want? Is Nina with you? I just saw her post. Yeah, she's here, Sarah said. We're together. We're heading back to campus soon. What's up? The other end was silent for a few seconds, then came a forced laugh. Nothing, never mind. He hung up quickly. And within 10 seconds of hanging up, Caleb deleted every single one of the comments he'd left on my post. Caleb? My cousin suddenly chimed in. That name sounds so familiar. I forced a smile. Of course it does. He's the one who beat you up when you were a kid. I've known Caleb for 13 years. We were friends for one of them and enemies for the other 12. We lived in the same apartment building. If he jumped around upstairs, I'd bang on the wall with a pot from downstairs. He called me brace face, I called him gap tooth. I'd be the top-ranked student in the school, then he'd knock me down to second place. Then I'd fight my way back to the top, and he'd knock me down again. One summer, my cousin came to visit. I felt brave with backup, so I wasn't scared of Caleb's taunts. When he deliberately threw my shoes off the balcony, I took my cousin upstairs and we tossed his most prized sneakers into a tree. Caleb was furious, and we got into a fight. My cousin, worried I'd get hurt, charged his chubby body right at Caleb. But Caleb was too quick and easily sidestepped him. My cousin couldn't stop in time and went sprawling. Caleb sat on top of him and gave him a few swats on the butt. He wailed, completely traumatized. For a long time after that, he was too scared to visit me. That was him? My cousin's face went pale, then red. He was clearly reliving that less than fond memory. I was a bit distracted. My friend noticed something was off. What's wrong? I hesitated for a moment before telling her about Caleb's comment storm. What do you think he meant by all that? Sarah paused, then rolled her eyes. He's messing with you, obviously. That jerk. My cousin chimed in, yeah, guys at my school pull pranks like that. They pretend to like a girl and then just mess with her. It's disgusting. Oh, so it was just a prank. That's a relief. Caleb likes me? No, I can't even think about it. The thought is too horrifying. I opened my chat with Caleb and sent him a single message, idiot. Because we had been academic equals our whole lives, Caleb and I, surprisingly and yet not so surprisingly, ended up at the same university. The day after I saw my cousin off, I ran into him in the dining hall. Well, if it isn't Nina, back from her date with the Cuban. Caleb sat down across from me with his tray of food. I glanced up at him. Could you maybe find another table? The sight of you is making me want to puke, and I'm losing my appetite. That was a bit of an exaggeration. Objectively speaking, Caleb was pretty handsome. He was almost 6 feet tall with a lean build and a clean-cut buzz cut, giving him a bright, athletic look. But he wasn't my type. Caleb gritted his teeth. Then don't eat. I'll sit wherever the hell I want. I didn't say another word, and neither did he. We both just buried our heads in our food. Then, slowly, it turned into a race to see who could eat faster. I shoveled the last bite of rice into my mouth and slammed my chopsticks down triumphantly. I win, I mumbled through a full mouth. Caleb looked at me, a little amused. Do you really have to be like this? I struggled to swallow and glanced casually toward the dining hall exit. What I saw made me freeze. It was drizzling outside. Leo was coming out of the campus store. As he opened his umbrella, a girl quickly darted out from behind him and looped her arm through his. They shared the single umbrella, their movements intimate and affectionate. Anyone could tell their relationship wasn't ordinary. No wonder he was always so cold and dismissive toward me. He already had someone he liked. But why didn't he just tell me? I'm not shameless. If I had known he was taken, I would have kept my distance and never bothered him. I looked away and lowered my head. A sour feeling in my chest spread like a flood. Thinking about all the time I'd spent fawning over him made me feel both humiliated and heartbroken. I felt like a total joke. The more I thought about it, the more my eyes started to well up. Remembering Caleb was still sitting across from me, I dug my nails into my palm and tried to act calm. But he noticed right away. "Why are you crying?" I shot him a glare. "Who's crying? Don't make things up." "God, Caleb, you're so annoying. Don't sit across from me when I'm eating ever again." I vented unreasonably, grabbed my umbrella, and stormed out. Caleb sat there for a moment, stunned. A guy from a nearby table nudged him. "What's up, man? Your girlfriend mad at you?" Caleb snapped out of it. "Oh, maybe I'm just too ugly for her." The guy glanced at Caleb's face and decided not to say anything else. As Caleb was leaving the dining hall, he happened to run into Leo coming from the direction of the women's dorms. They were on the same basketball team. Their relationship was decent enough. Caleb asked casually, "What were you doing over there?" Leo smiled. "Walking my girlfriend back." Caleb froze. "You have a girlfriend?" "Yeah, we just made it official yesterday." Caleb glanced back at the table where he and Nina had been sitting. He seemed to understand why someone had suddenly blown up. "Do you like your girlfriend?" he asked Leo. "Of course I do. Why are you asking?" Leo thought he was being a little weird. Caleb looked at him, his face blank. "If you already had someone you liked, why did you keep stringing Nina along? If you'd just been straight with her, she wouldn't have. She was into it." "It's not like I forced her," Leo shrugged. "Besides, she's hot. What guy could say no to a girl throwing herself at him like that? But I'll make it clear to her the next time she comes looking for me." Caleb stared at him and thought, Nina has terrible taste in men. My first crush ended before it even began. I was pretty down about it, with no energy for anything. Finals were just around the corner, but I'd flipped through several pages of my textbook and nothing was sinking in. After a few more failed attempts, I gave up and just climbed into bed to sleep. But the moment I closed my eyes, the image of Leo and that girl together flashed through my mind. They looked like a couple, for sure. And he still strung me along, treating me like a fool. I felt so insulted. Anger, regret, shame, sadness. All these emotions washed over me, and I couldn't find a wink of sleep. My phone buzzed a few times. I picked it up and saw it was a call from Caleb. I didn't want to talk to him right now, so I just declined it. I muttered to myself, "I'm so miserable. Maybe I'll be fine once I'm asleep. Ugh, I'm just so done with this." I sat up and realized my blanket was on backwards. After fixing it, I lay back down, only to hear Caleb's roar in my ear, "Nina, what are you doing? Don't do something stupid. There's a whole life ahead of you, you have to keep living." I frowned and glanced at my phone screen. I had accidentally hit accept instead of decline. I rubbed my face. What was this guy even babbling about? I couldn't make sense of it. I hung up, buried my head in my pillow, and after a little while, sleep finally started to come. Just as I was drifting off, the door to my dorm room was kicked open, accompanied by Caleb's furious shout, "Nina." It took me 0.3 seconds to realize I wasn't dreaming. I threw open my bed curtain and stared at Caleb in horror. I was incredibly grateful that my roommates were all at the library and no one was there to witness the absurd actions of my childhood rival, whose brain seemed to be as underdeveloped as his cerebellum. Before I could even climb down from my bunk, I heard another set of hurried footsteps. The dorm mom's booming voice snapped me fully awake. "What program and class are you in? How dare a male student barge into the women's dorms? Get out here right now, you little punk." I scrambled down, and the moment my feet hit the floor, there was a sharp crack from my ankle. Ignoring the searing pain, I rushed to the door. The dorm mom was already dragging Caleb out by his ear. He looked frantic. "It's a matter of life and death. Please, let me just check on her." "Check on my foot? I'm calling your advisor first." "Ma'am." I forced a pained smile. I asked him to come. Caleb and the dorm mom both turned to look at me. Caleb let out a huge, visible sigh of relief. His entire demeanor switched from panic to calm in an instant. The dorm mom looked at me suspiciously. Why did you call him? I gestured to my right foot. Ma'am, I twisted my ankle. My roommates aren't here, so I called my boyfriend to carry me to the clinic. In just a few minutes, my ankle had swollen to the size of a balloon. She didn't doubt my story, but she still disapproved. You can always come find me if you need something. Your boyfriend is a guy, it's not appropriate for him to be in the girls' dorms. I apologized profusely, and she finally let it go. Caleb, quick on the uptake, ran over, crouched in front of me, and lifted me onto his back. As he hurried downstairs, I heard the dorm mom mutter under her breath. What a sweet little couple. I rolled my eyes. When I looked down, Caleb's ears were a strange shade of red. I couldn't be bothered to care if his ears were red or black. The second we were out of the dorm building, I hopped off his back. Explain yourself. What were you doing in my dorm? I thought you were going to do something stupid over some loser. Caleb exploded. Just listen to what you said when I called you earlier. I was confused. Caleb, his face dark, pulled out his phone and played a recording of our call. After listening, I was silent. But I still decided to explain. When I said I was done, I meant I was done with the drama. Ultimately, it was my fault for not being clear and making him misunderstand. I waved my hand. Whatever, I don't blame you. Let's go. Caleb, you've got some nerve. My sprained ankle gave way, and I wobbled. Caleb quickly steadied me. His eyes fell to my foot, and his expression darkened again. He crouched down in front of me. Get on. I'll take you to the hospital. A free ride? I wasn't going to turn that down. So, without any hesitation, I hopped onto his back. The doctor said it was just a sprain, no broken bones. I just needed to rest for a few days. I glanced at Caleb, who was listening intently, and an idea popped into my head. The moment we stepped out, I said, Caleb, you have to take responsibility for this. Pfft. Caleb sprayed out the mouthful of water he had just taken. He coughed several times, his face turning red, then looked at me in shock. I just carried you for a bit, isn't this a little much? Get your mind out of the gutter. I glared at him. What I mean is, I twisted my ankle because of you, so you have to be responsible. For the next few days, you're taking me to class. Oh. Caleb awkwardly looked at the sky, the ground, anywhere but at me. I heard him mumble a quiet, fine. He agreed. Caleb just agreed? I studied him. You're acting a little weird. Caleb ignored me, walked me to my dorm, and left without another word. I watched him go from my balcony, thinking to myself, that guy is definitely weird. For the next several days, Caleb showed up at my dorm right on time. After class, he'd be waiting at my classroom door to take me back. He wasn't exactly gentle, but he was attentive enough. I decided to temporarily remove him from the #1 spot on my most annoying person list. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. One day, as Caleb was helping me out of the academic building, we looked up and saw Leo holding hands with his girlfriend. I felt awkward and looked away. I quietly urged Caleb, let's go, quickly. Why? Caleb's brain seemed to short-circuit. Did you do something you feel guilty about? That little delay was all it took for our paths to cross. Leo was clearly surprised to see us, then his eyes landed on my foot. Are you hurt? I didn't want to talk to him, so I just gave a non-committal Leo smiled. No wonder I haven't seen you in the study lounge these past couple of days. I gave him a strange look. He used to ignore me, but now that I wasn't chasing him anymore, his attitude had gotten friendlier. Meanwhile, Leo's girlfriend seemed to have picked up on something, and she was giving me a look that was laced with hostility. My skin crawled, and I was about to drag Caleb away. Leo narrowed his eyes, noticing our interaction. Caleb, so it's you. Leo started, saying something that made no sense. No wonder you were so prickly with me that day. Caleb shot him a dismissive glance. Shouldn't you be comforting your girlfriend? She looks like she's about to get mad. Leo froze. Caleb pulled me away. Since you have a girlfriend, maybe you should stop trying to flirt with other girls? Flirt? The word seemed to choke Leo. What are you talking about? His girlfriend yanked her hand away from his and stormed off. Leo couldn't be bothered with us anymore and quickly ran after her. I turned to look at Caleb. He pushed my head back forward. All right, I know I'm handsome. Me, oh, shut up. I went for a checkup at the clinic today. The doctor said I was recovering well and could walk, run, and jump normally again. When I came out, Caleb was still waiting by the door. You don't have to be my workhorse anymore. I'm setting you free. Caleb ignored me and started walking toward the athletic fields. Where are you going? To play ball. I thought about it. True, he hadn't had much time to play these past few days. I didn't think much of it and went to the library with my backpack. I had mostly sorted out my feelings over the past few days and was completely over Leo. It was time to hit the books and get ready for finals. I stayed in the library until about 5 or 6 in the evening. I stretched, then glanced at my phone. The dorm group chat was suddenly buzzing. Someone had sent a photo and tagged me. Nina's nonsense, isn't the guy fighting with Leo your childhood rival? He looks familiar. Whoa, what happened? It looks like a serious fight. I heard it started as a normal bump during the game, but then somehow they just started throwing punches. Nina's nonsense, they're at the campus clinic now. You should probably stop by and check on him. What does this have to do with Nina? They said Nina's name while they were fighting. It might be related to her. I stared at the chat history, feeling dazed. My brain hadn't even processed it yet, but my body was already packing up my books and leaving the library. When I ran to the clinic, I bumped into the same doctor who had treated my foot. Oh, you're here. He looked at me with amusement. You two are quite the couple, taking turns ending up in here. I didn't have time to correct his misunderstanding about our relationship. I just asked, Doctor, where is he? The doctor pointed down the hall, and I hurried in that direction. Caleb and Leo were in the same room, but they were sitting far apart. A doctor was treating a cut on Leo's face. He hissed in pain. Caleb let out a cryptic chuckle. Leo's face darkened, and he shot up from his seat. What are you laughing at? Why are you so worked up? I wasn't laughing at you. Caleb really knew how to push people's buttons. Leo was furious, and his words were sharp. You just overheard me talking to the guys, and you got pissed because I hit a nerve, didn't you? Was I wrong? Nina was all over me last month, and this month she's latched onto you. Just admit it, Caleb, in her heart, you're second best to me. You're just her backup plan. Do you really think you're hot shit? Standing outside the door, I listened to Leo's words, my fingertips trembling with anger. He had probably said even worse things on the court. Things so nasty that even Caleb couldn't stand to hear them. I felt more and more like I must have been blind. How could I have ever liked someone like him? The argument inside was getting louder, and it looked like they were about to start fighting again. I pushed the door open and walked in. Under Leo's stunned gaze, I raised my hand and slapped him across the face. You're a disgusting scumbag. Caleb is 1,000,000 times better than you. At least he doesn't talk about girls behind their backs. The crisp sound of the slap silenced the entire clinic. Leo clutched his face, staring at me in disbelief. A fresh bruise from the fight was visible on the corner of his mouth. Nina, you. My voice was surprisingly calm. I must have been blind to ever like a piece of trash like you. I grabbed Caleb's wrist and started walking out. The guy who had been a ball of fury moments before didn't say a word, just letting me pull him along. As we passed the doctor, I paused. "Doctor, is he okay to leave?" The doctor snapped back to reality. "Yes, he's fine. He didn't get hurt much, the kid's pretty quick." I nodded and pulled him out of the building. Only when we were around the corner did I abruptly let go of his hand. The setting sun stretched his shadow long behind him. I stared at the new cut on his forehead. "Caleb, you've always hated me, haven't you? Why did you jump in and fight when you heard someone bad-mouthing me?" "I don't like him," he said, kicking a loose pebble. "Can't a guy have a strong sense of justice? Besides, he wasn't just dissing you, he was dissing me, too." "Caleb," I said, cutting him off. "What?" "Thank you." Caleb instinctively started to joke. "Whoa, in all the years we've known each other, this is the first time I've ever heard you." I turned and looked at his expression, and he trailed off. He cleared his throat. "You're welcome." After finals, I started packing to go home. Caleb's exams finished a few days after mine, so I didn't wait for him. On the way home, I stopped by my cousin's university for a couple of days. By the time he finished his exams, we were heading back to our hometown together. Because of the delay, we coincidentally ended up on the same bus home as Caleb. My cousin sat next to me. "Sis, I keep getting this weird chill down my spine." He kept turning around, fidgeting like he had fleas. I frowned. "What did you see?" "My cousin, I saw a cute guy, and he keeps staring at me." He sighed dramatically. "But I'm straight." My interest piqued, I sat up and turned around to look. I was about to go talk to Caleb, but the driver got on, told us all to buckle up, and started the bus. I sent him a text, but he didn't reply. When I looked back, he was leaning against the window, asleep. The bus ride was 3 hours long, with a stop at a rest area midway. I got off to use the restroom. As I was about to get back on, Caleb came down from the bus, grabbed my arm, and pulled me aside. I looked at him, confused. "What's up?" Caleb didn't look too happy. Who's that guy sitting next to you?" "What about him?" "Is that the guy from your social media post?" "Yeah." I couldn't figure out what Caleb was getting at. He pressed his lips together, looking conflicted. After a few seconds, he lowered his voice. "Nina, how can you have such bad taste in guys? While you were gone, he was on the phone with another girl, and he was calling her baby." Caleb looked at me with deep disappointment. "Why do you only ever fall for scumbags?" It dawned on me. "You're saying he has a girlfriend?" Caleb nodded. I nodded back. "I know. He told me he has a girlfriend. Also, I don't like him. He's my cousin. You guys even fought when you were kids, remember?" Caleb's expression froze solid. Then, without another word, he turned and walked stiffly back onto the bus. I was about to die laughing. He turned back, frowning, and warned me, "Stop laughing." I stopped. Once I was back on the bus, I sent him a message. "I didn't know you were so invested in my love life." Caleb left me on read. I was about to ask him again when a passenger up front yelled, "My wallet's gone." As soon as he said it, 2 or 3 other passengers stood up. "I'm missing something too. My phone's gone." "Driver. There's a thief on the bus." I quickly checked my bag. The gold ring I bought for my mom with my scholarship money was gone. My face went pale. I turned to my cousin. "Did anyone come near my seat?" My cousin was clueless. "I don't know, I was on a voice call and then I fell asleep." "Sis, did you lose something too?" I nodded. "The gold ring I bought for my mom is gone." Just then, a girl sitting by the window shouted, "I saw him. A man in a gray shirt got on our bus earlier." She pointed out the window. "He's over there, by the convenience store." Before anyone could react, a black figure shot past me from the back of the bus. I saw Caleb and the bus driver jump off the bus at the same time and chase after him toward the store. My cousin was pressed against the window. "Whoa, sis, your rival is kind of awesome." I just stared, dumbfounded. Caleb was in great shape and ran much faster than the driver. By the time the driver rushed into the store, Caleb had already cornered the man in gray at the back exit. The driver hurried over and helped him pin the man to the ground. They pulled a handful of stolen items from the man's pockets that he hadn't had a chance to offload yet. The driver was furious and smacked the man on the head. "You son of a bitch. Stealing from my passengers." He turned to Caleb with a grin. "Thanks, kid." Caleb shook his head and pulled a card holder and a jewelry box from the pile of stolen goods. He opened the card holder, checked inside, and let out a sigh of relief. The driver peeked over his shoulder, a thoughtful look on his face. When Caleb handed me the ring box, I had to admit, he looked pretty damn cool. "Thanks." Caleb didn't say anything, just walked back to his seat and sat down. All the passengers on the bus were praising him, and people were offering him snacks and drinks. He seemed pretty popular. My cousin poked my arm. "He really does seem like a good guy. And I don't get it, are you guys really enemies? It doesn't seem like he hates you at all." I paused. "I guess we've all just grown up and aren't so childish anymore," I said dismissively. My cousin nodded. "True." Caleb's stop came before mine. Not long after he got off, I got off with my cousin. The driver was outside having a cigarette. I went over to thank him. "Thank you so much for everything, sir. If it weren't for you, we probably wouldn't have gotten our stuff back." The driver waved his hand, embarrassed. "I didn't do much. Your boyfriend did most of the work." I was honestly baffled. Why did everyone always assume Caleb and I were a couple? Wasn't the hostile energy between us obvious? Exasperated, I explained, "We're not dating." "Come on, I know how you kids are. You must have had a fight." The driver smiled. "That boy's wallet was stolen too. He looked so nervous about it. I was so curious, I couldn't help but sneak a peek. There was a picture of you inside his wallet. You can tell me you're not dating, but I won't believe it." His tone shifted. "Well, I guess it's possible. But one thing I know for sure is that boy is in love with you." I stood there, frozen, the driver's words echoing in my head. My cousin had overheard and was thrilled. After we said goodbye to the driver, he wouldn't stop pestering me. "Caleb likes you? Holy crap. He definitely likes you. Sis, do you like him? If you two rivals end up together, that would be so dramatic." "Shut up." I finally snapped, his chatter making my head spin and the air around me feel hot and stuffy. The driver was just guessing. He doesn't like me. My cousin wasn't so easily fooled. Then why does he carry your picture around with him? I shot back, to put a curse on me. "My cousin, what kind of mortal enemies are you guys? Curse you? Ha 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 ha, Nina, you're killing me." My best friend, Sarah, burst out laughing when I called her. She laughed for a long time before she finally caught her breath. Her voice turned serious. "Nina, has it ever occurred to you that maybe, just maybe, Caleb actually likes you?" "No." "Don't be so quick to deny it. Think about it. When you made that typo, wasn't Caleb the one who freaked out the most? And later, when Leo was talking trash about you, wasn't Caleb the one who stood up for you and got into a fight? Also, if he didn't like you, there would be no reason for him to get mad seeing you with your cousin. And he definitely wouldn't have warned you about a player. Nina, I'm telling you, he likes you." I clutched my phone, feeling lost. But how could he? Why not? Sarah shot back, "Nina, you're smart, pretty, studious, and ambitious. You're a loyal friend, and you have a great sense of humor. What's not to like?" Her voice changed again. "And what's more, I don't think you really hate Caleb either." I jumped as if someone had stepped on my tail. I do not like him. I didn't say you liked him. I said you don't hate him. Sarah laid out her case like a lawyer. When the dorm mom was yelling at him, you jumped in to defend him before you even knew what was going on. Why do you think that is? When he was arguing with Leo, you took his side. And don't you dare tell me you didn't feel a single flutter in your heart when he got your ring back for you. I couldn't answer a single one of her questions. Thankfully, Sarah was understanding. She told me to think about it. I couldn't figure it out, so I decided to go straight to the source and ask Caleb. I rode my bike right over to his house. Caleb's mom recognized me. "Oh, isn't this Nina? Here to see Caleb?" She pointed upstairs. "He's up there." "Thanks, Mrs. Chen." I put down the fruit I'd brought and went straight upstairs. Caleb had just lost a game and was sprawled on his bed, dramatically beating his chest. His desk was a mess. Among the clutter was a card holder. As if possessed, I reached out a finger and flipped it open. Inside, I saw my own ID photo. Hearing the noise, Caleb turned around. He looked at me, then at the card holder on his desk, and his expression became a whirlwind of emotions. He shot up so fast he knocked his leg against the bed frame. He grimaced in pain, but it didn't slow him down. He snatched the card holder off the desk. What are you doing here?" I watched him clumsily shove the card holder into a drawer, his ears turning as red as boiled shrimp. The silence in the room was almost tangible. I studied his face. "My mom sent me over to thank you for getting my ring back." Caleb mumbled an "oh," his eyes darting everywhere but at me. "It was nothing, don't mention it." I stared at his face, and suddenly my heart started beating a little faster. Sarah's words swirled in my mind. "Nina, you're smart, pretty, studious, and ambitious. You're a loyal friend, and you have a great sense of humor. What's not to like? And what's more, I don't think you really hate Caleb either." I took a deep breath and decided to stop beating around the bush. "Caleb. What? Do you like me?" His head snapped up, his pupils dilating as if he'd been struck by lightning. The room was terrifyingly quiet. I could actually hear my own heartbeat. A few seconds later, Caleb's Adam's apple bobbed. His voice was a little hoarse. "You saw it?" "Yeah," I nodded, pointing at his drawer. "The photo." It was my middle school ID picture. I was a little chubby back then, with obvious baby fat on my face. Caleb was silent for a moment, then, as if giving up, he plopped down on his bed, ran a hand through his hair, and looked up at me with a burning gaze. "Yeah. I like you." I blinked, my heart pounding even faster. His directness threw me off. Now I was the one who didn't know what to do. "Since when?" He looked up at me, his gaze unusually serious. "Middle school." "Middle school?" I was shocked. "But we fought every single day back then." He smirked, as if lost in a memory, his eyes darkening slightly. "That year, my dad died in a car accident. After the funeral, when I came back to school, I heard a few guys talking about me behind my back. Caleb was a top student in middle school, and all the teachers loved him. So, naturally, there were plenty of people who didn't like him, especially the slackers who did nothing all day. To this day, Caleb could still remember the cruel things they said. Caleb's dad is dead. See? It's karma. Ha ha ha, why didn't Caleb die with his dad? His dad's dead, and he can still study and get first in the grade. That guy's so cold-blooded. I froze as Caleb spoke. A distant memory surfaced. Caleb's dad had passed away from an illness in 8th grade. He'd been really quiet during that time and hadn't even bickered with me. They said my dad deserved it. I was on the staircase about to confront them when I heard your voice. You were calling them disgusting. I vaguely remembered it. After school one day, I'd run into a few guys by the girls' restroom, laughing and saying horrible things. I got so mad I yelled at them. They got angry and chased me. I was so scared I hid in the girls' restroom and argued with them through the door. I remember yelling, "I don't like Caleb either. But I would never use something like this to attack him. You guys are disgusting. I recorded everything you just said. Just you wait, I'm telling the teacher." Later, the security guard came and chased the bullies away, and I didn't think much of it after that. You heard that? I felt a little embarrassed. Caleb let out a soft mm. Afterwards, I came out and beat them up. Oh. So, it wasn't the security guard. Caleb paused, then suddenly smiled. Then I saw you sneak out of the girls' restroom. Your legs were shaking, but you were still trying to look tough. I just thought. His voice dropped. It was kind of cute. My face instantly felt like it was on fire. What Caleb didn't know was that my legs weren't shaking because I was scared. They were numb from squatting on the toilet for too long. I decided not to share that detail. It was too embarrassing. And I really couldn't believe his reason for liking me was because I was cute when I was yelling at people. I opened my mouth, but I didn't know what to say. Caleb suddenly stood up and walked toward me. He stood in front of me, looking down slightly, his eyes serious. "Nina, I like you. It's not a prank, and it's not a joke. If you're grossed out, I can leave right now." I looked up at him, my heart hammering against my ribs. "Caleb." "Yeah? I hear you," I said, my face a blank mask. "I'm leaving now." I turned to go, but a figure suddenly blocked my path. Caleb stood in front of me, looking a little flustered and annoyed. You can't just leave like that." "Then what should I do?" "What are you thinking?" he asked. "You have to tell me what you're thinking." "I'm not thinking anything right now." I gently pushed him aside, walked out the door, and then paused. Looking back, I saw Caleb standing in the middle of the room. He looked as dejected as a big, sad puppy. I fought to keep my lips from smiling. "Caleb, it takes more than a few words to win a girl over. You'll have to show me with your actions." As the start of the semester approached, my cousin called and asked if I wanted to travel back to school with him. I said no. He was bummed. "Why not?" "I'm going with someone else." The day before classes started, Caleb was waiting downstairs from my apartment building first thing in the morning. As I dragged my suitcase down, he was squatting by the entrance, playing on his phone. When he heard me, he looked up, his eyes lit up, and he rushed over to take my luggage. "You're early," I said, raising an eyebrow. He cleared his throat. "I was afraid you'd change your mind." I snorted. Whoever backs out is a puppy. Caleb's courtship was intense and straightforward. He showed up at my dorm every morning with my favorite breakfast. I casually mentioned once that it was hard to get a seat in the library, and the next day he woke up early to save one for me. When I had my period, he somehow got his hands on some hot ginger tea and had my roommate bring it to me. My roommates all teased me. "Nina, your childhood rival is leveling up pretty fast, huh?" "Yeah, didn't you used to talk trash about him all the time?" I chewed on my straw and mumbled, "Well, he used to be so annoying." "Oh, please," a roommate said, playfully calling my bluff. "I can see you smiling from ear to ear." Another roommate sighed dramatically. "If you don't want a great boyfriend like that, I'm going for him." Say what you want, but Caleb is seriously hot. I shot up from my chair. No. Just then, my phone vibrated. A message from Caleb, downstairs. "I bought you strawberries." I peeked out the window and, sure enough, he was standing under the tree in front of the dorm, holding a plastic bag and looking up. Sunlight dappled through the leaves, casting bright, shifting patterns on him. "Ooh, the strawberry delivery service is here." My roommate teased. "Nina, if you don't say yes, I'm making my move, okay?" I grabbed my jacket and bolted out the door, a chorus of laughter following me. Downstairs, Caleb saw me rushing out and looked a little surprised. "What's wrong?" I panted, holding out my hand. "Give me your card holder." His expression stiffened, and he instinctively covered his pocket. "Why?" "Let me see it." Caleb hesitated for a moment but handed it over. I flipped it open and, sure enough, there was my ID picture, the one from middle school, where I had baby fat on my face. I frowned and pulled the picture out. Caleb got anxious. "What are you doing?" He seemed to realize something, and his expression fell. He opened his mouth to say something, but then he saw me pull a new photo out of my pocket and slide it into the card holder. It was an ID photo I had just taken last week. I was wearing a white dress, and I'd even put on makeup. "This one looks better," I said, looking up at him with a slight smile. "Your girlfriend's picture should be a good one." Caleb froze. He looked down at the photo, then back up at me, his Adam's apple bobbing. "Girlfriend? What, you don't want to?" I pretended to snatch the photo back. "Then give it. Don't even think about it." He snapped the card holder shut. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me into his arms. The late summer wind was warm, but the beat of his heart against my chest was even hotter. "Nina," he said, his voice muffled, "I've been waiting to hear you say that for a long, long time." I leaned against his shoulder and let out a soft mm. "Caleb." "Yeah?" "Your card holder is digging into me." "Sorry." He fumbled to adjust his position but only ended up holding me tighter. Under the sun, our shadows finally merged into one. That weekend, I treated my best friend, Sarah, to dinner at the most expensive steakhouse near campus. "This one's on me," I said, pushing the menu toward her. "If you hadn't knocked some sense into me, I'd probably still be fighting with Caleb." Sarah's eyes curved into crescents as she smiled. "In that case, I'm ordering the most expensive steak." While we were waiting for our food, she suddenly lowered her voice. "By the way, have you heard what's been going on with Leo?" I shook my head. Ever since I slapped him in the clinic, I hadn't paid any attention to him. "His girlfriend is a legend," Sarah said, gloating. "She found out he was talking to like 7 or 8 other girls, so she screenshotted all the chats and mass sent them to every girl involved." My eyes went wide with shock. "That's brutal." "It gets better," Sarah leaned in. She also posted an article on the school forum called 108 Sins of the Scumbag Leo. He's basically a social pariah on campus now. As she was talking, Sarah's phone rang. She glanced at it, and her expression turned strange. "Speak of the devil. It's Leo." She and Leo were in the same program. They saw each other around. I motioned for her to answer and put it on speaker. "Sarah," Leo's voice sounded exhausted. "Can you help me apologize to Nina?" "I apologize?" Sarah cut him off. "You think you have the right? Where was this energy when you were stringing Nina along?" The other end was silent for a moment. "I know I was wrong, and I really regret it now. I realize now that I like her." "Save it," Sarah rolled her eyes. "Nina and Caleb are together now, and they're so happy. He's 100 times better than you. Go to hell, you scumbag." And with that, she hung up. I couldn't help but give her a thumbs up. That's my best friend. A total warrior. Sarah waved her phone smugly. "Of course. I'll call out jerks like that every chance I get." She stuffed her mouth with food. "This steak is pretty good. Oh, by the way, I saw another restaurant I want to try. Next time, Caleb can treat me." I couldn't stop laughing. "Done. I'll make sure you're well fed." On the way back to campus after dinner, I got a call from my cousin. "Sis, I came to visit your school." His voice was excited. "I'm right outside your dorm." I hurried back, and from a distance, I saw my cousin and Caleb standing under a tree. The atmosphere was a little strange. They must have just run into each other. My cousin's eyes lit up when he saw me. Sis, I have a wish. What wish? Caleb swatted my butt when we were kids, my cousin said with a dead serious face. Can I hit him back now? Before the words were even out of his mouth, his hand had already shot out. A loud smack echoed, and the air fell silent. Caleb's face turned green. You little brat. My cousin was already laughing and running away, with Caleb chasing after him. The two tall guys raced down the tree-lined path, sunlight filtering through the leaves and casting dappled light on them. I stood where I was, watching them, and a warmth spread through my chest. Caleb looked back at me, his smile dazzling in the sun. He reached out his hand to me. Nina, come on. Help me block him. My cousin wailed, Sis. We're the real family here. I laughed and ran toward them, the wind catching the hem of my skirt. In that moment, I finally knew for sure. My youth, my love, and all the best parts of my life would be tied to this boy named Caleb.